the WrestleHavoc Podcast on YouTube, where we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. We talk all that goes on in the realm of WWE and AEW every week. And now, here's your host, the one that will give you a reality check on pro wrestling, Flamin' Ricky DeReyes. This is the WrestleHavoc Podcast.
What's up, everybody? It is Flamin' Ricky DeReyes, right here on Ep.5 of the WrestleHavoc Podcast on YouTube, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content, and as the frickin' referee would say, ring that damn bell for more notifications. We got a lot of things to cover right here on Episode 5 of the show. Of course, the main topic that we are going to be discussing is, of course, the Royal Rumble, which will be taking place tomorrow night at the Alamo Dome. It's going to be a huge show. Of course, the Royal Rumble kicks off every January, the road to WrestleMania. I'm going to be talking about who will be winning the Royal Rumble. It's a constant topic that everybody is talking about now. Is it Sami Zayn? Is it Cody Rhodes? Is it The Rock, which I highly doubt. I think that's a dumb idea in my opinion, but I'll get to that later on. But we are going to be talking about the Royal Rumble. Not only that, I'm going to be giving you guys my preview and predictions for tomorrow night's pay-per-view event. Also, we got a little bit of AEW news to discuss as well. Different topics in AEW, but not really a lot. We're primarily on this episode going to be focusing on the Royal Rumble. So, yeah, man, it's going to be a great show overall. But before I get on with all of this craziness, make sure to like and subscribe to the WrestleHavoc Podcast, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. And as the frickin' referee would say, ring that damn bell for more notifications. Also, the WrestleHavoc Podcast is also available on audio platforms. It is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and Google Podcasts. So if you guys want to listen to the WrestleHavoc Podcast in audio format, it is available on all of those platforms. Also, quick note that the AEW Dynamite review is up on the channel as well. We talk about Mark Briscoe paying tribute to the late Jay Briscoe in a tribute match against Jay Lethal. Great moment, great match overall. Overall, a great Dynamite that happened last night. So if you guys want to check out the AEW Dynamite review, the link will be in the description of this video. I also have up right here on the channel the Raw is XXX, the Raw is 30 episode of Raw Review. Of course, we talk about the tribal court of Sami Zayn and how that segment was absolutely freaking just pure perfection at the end of the day. So if you guys want to check out both the AEW Dynamite and the Raw is 30 review, both links will be in the description below. But let's talk about some AEW news. We are going to be talking about Wardlow. Where has Wardlow been in the realm of all elite wrestling? Damn, I really need to turn off this intro. It's literally on OBS right now. OBS has literally been pissing me off. I just do not know why. If you guys see lag on this video, I deeply and sincerely apologize, because I had like 5 attempts at trying to start filming this video, and OBS has just been acting like an asshole to me, and I've been so pissed off about it. But yeah, man, we are going to be talking about Wardlow. Where has Wardlow been? I'm reading this from the Wrestling Observer, F4W Online. AEW's Wardlow out of action due to injury. The absence of the former TNT champion has been revealed. And, of course, this is from F4W Online. Since losing to his rematch to then TNT champion Samoa Joe in late December and having his haircut afterwards, former TNT champion Wardlow has been absent from AEW television. In this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer explained the reason he is injured. While not going into specifics about what the injury is or how it was suffered, Meltzer said it's quote-unquote not believed to be one that will keep him out of action for a long time. Since last April, Wardlow had been on a roll, going undefeated in both singles and tag team matches, a streak that ended in last November's Full Gear when he lost the TNT Championship to Samoa Joe in a three-way that also included Powerhouse Hobbs, which I was there in attendance. After a 2-minute Rampage win in mid-December, he then lost to Joe by referee stoppage and hasn't been seen on AEW television since. Joe, meanwhile, lost the TNT Championship to Darby Allin in January and will get his own rematch on this Wednesday's Dynamite in an Anything Goes match. So there you have it. We've all been asking in AEW these past couple of weeks, where has Wardlow been? He's currently injured. Now, the good thing about this is it's not a huge injury that's going to be keeping him out for a long time. It's only relatively a short injury. Now, we do not know what that particular injury is, but hopefully it's not a severe injury. And by the looks of it, it doesn't look like it's actually a severe injury. But Wardlow, man, Wardlow, if there's anybody that AEW has dropped the ball with, in my opinion, it is definitely Wardlow. They built this guy up like crazy when he was paired with MJF, and the build up to the match that they had at Double or Nothing was very good. Fantastic stuff that they did in the build up for MJF and Wardlow. But let's be honest, the whole Wardlow and MJF match, or I should say Wardlow's moment, got completely derailed because of the situation that I still believe is real with the whole plane ticket, MJF threatening to walk out, no showing the meet and greet. That got overshadowed by all of that as well. Of course, Wardlow later on won the TNT Championship, but let's be honest, has Wardlow really done anything with the TNT title? I genuinely do not believe that. I think Wardlow hasn't really been showcased enough as the TNT champion. Not only that, I just feel like they dropped the ball with him dramatically, which is absolutely a shame to say. I mean, Wardlow is a fantastic wrestler, and he has all the tools to be a main event guy. But do I think he will be in contention for MJF's AEW World Championship? I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. No, I don't think he's going to challenge MJF. I don't even think in the future when he comes back from his injury, a lot of people are saying he should beat MJF. I do not think that's going to be the case. I think we have to find somebody else. That's just my opinion. But hopefully Wardlow comes back from injury, and he does better things in AEW when he comes back. So I wish all the best for Wardlow in the future. We have a reason as to why the Briscoes were kept off of AEW television by Warner Brothers Discovery. As you guys all know, last year, the Briscoes were definitely on a roll. Of course, everybody was talking about the trilogy that they had with FTR. Of course, they first wrestled last year during WrestleMania weekend at Supercard of Honor. They then wrestled in a 2 out of 3 falls match at Death Before Dishonor. And then, of course, they wrestled in a dog collar match this past December at Final Battle. But, of course, unfortunately, we did lose Jay Briscoe last week, which is still, it's still tough for me to think about. Honestly, losing Jay is still a relatively tough one. But as you guys all know, Warner Brothers Discovery, and it was reported constantly last year that Warner Brothers Discovery banned the Briscoes from ever either joining AEW or appearing on AEW television because of some homophobic comments that Jay Briscoe said back in 2013. And this was a situation in which Jay Briscoe apologized numerous times, constantly, and he even had there was even people from the LGBTQ community that even said, "Hey, Jay Briscoe is a great human being. Like, he apologized numerous times, and he's becoming a better person." So the fact that Warner Brothers Discovery decide to not allow the Briscoes for shit that they said 10 plus years ago is completely stupid, in my opinion, and it was very hypocritical on Warner Brothers Discovery's end because of the fact that, meanwhile, you had Dana White in a video that leaked out on TMZ of him slapping his wife, and after that, they still aired the Power Slap show, which I believe is doing much lower ratings than AEW Dynamite because AEW Dynamite is actually the lead in 2 Power Slap. But, yeah, man, the Briscoes were kept off of TV due to past tweets and, of course, their Confederate flag gear. And the second reason is Jay and Mark. Well, that was the second reason, by the way. But we'll get into this article by F4W Online. A second reason the Briscoes were not allowed on AEW TV by Warner Brothers Discovery was revealed in this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter. Dave Meltzer wrote that while the main issue was due to well-publicized homophobic tweets by the late Jay Briscoe made nearly 10 years ago and later atoned for, the second reason was their past usage of the Confederate flag on both their in-ring jackets and gear. The use of the flag has become a controversial one in American culture, with proponents saying that it honors Southern U.S. heritage and commemorates the Civil War, while its critics believe it glorifies racism, slavery, segregation, among other things. Following Jay's passing on January 17th in a head-on car accident, AEW was unable to pay full homage to the Ring of Honor star on AEW television immediately after due to the ban. That was lifted in this past week by Mark Briscoe when he was announced to be making his AEW debut against Jay Lethal to honor his brother on what would have been his 39th birthday. A tribute video aired the same night in addition to the locker room coming out to the stage following the match to pay respect. Meltzer also noted that there are no further restrictions on Mark Briscoe appearing on AEW television and that this past Wednesday wasn't a one-off appearance. So Warner Brothers Discovery was not only upset about the fact that Jay Briscoe said homophobic tweets, but the fact that they wore the Confederate flag on their ring gear, which is true. But thing is I do not believe that even in the past couple of years they wore the Confederate flag on their ring gear. That is just me. That's my opinion. I don't think that they have. Now, early on in their careers, they definitely did. But again, I mean, I just believe that I just hate the fact that they were banned off of television for the first reason, you know, them saying homophobic tweets. I mean, everybody was saying good things about the Briscoes, fans and even workers alike. So the fact that Warner Brothers Discovery completely banned, the Briscoes like that. Not only that, still had Power Slap on the air. Meanwhile, knowing what Dana White did, I don't care how many times I will say, I will repeat myself on that. They kept Power Slap on. Well, I believe they did delay it they did delay a week, but still, they kept Power Slap on after the whole Dana White incident, but they don't allow the Briscoes for almost a whole year. That is absolutely ridiculous. I'm glad that the ban is lifted. Would you say it's too late? Yes, but you know what? At the end of the day, at least it happened, and Mark Briscoe is still allowed to work AEW shows now. You know what? And hats off to Tony Khan. Tony Khan gets a lot of flack, and he gets a lot of hate, which is I do not know why. Look, Tony Khan has made a lot of mistakes. Trust me, every promoter makes their own mistakes, but the amount of hate that Tony Khan gets is this guy gets is absolutely crazy. Hats off to Tony Khan for constantly pushing for Mark Briscoe to wrestle on this show. Honestly, it goes to show you the type of person that Tony Khan is, and it goes to show that he really does care about his talent, in my opinion. But it was great seeing Mark Briscoe on AEW Dynamite, and it was a very, very emotional match that he had with Jay Lethal 2 nights ago on AEW Dynamite. And, of course, they also did film a week prior a tribute show that was branded under Ring of Honor, which is currently now on Ring of Honor's YouTube channel. You guys can go and check it out. I actually still haven't watched it yet. I'm planning on watching it, but I heard it was really good and, of course, very emotional. All right. AEW and DAZN agree to a multi-year broadcast deal. I'm reading this from SBNation.com or CageSideSeats.com. AEW and digital sports platform DAZN have agreed to a multi-year international broadcast deal that makes DAZN the exclusive carrier of AEW content in over 40 countries. They released a press release. Of course, they will be airing AEW Dynamite, Rampage, Battle of the Belts 4 times a year, their pay-per-views, Dark and Dark Elevation. It's worth noting that DAZN has also announced a multi-year international deal with Impact Wrestling last November. And AEW is now has a new international broadcast deal with DAZN. Do I think that will affect their relationship with Warner Brothers Discovery? I do not think so, because keep in mind, WWE, they have a deal with NBC Universal, but they have other separate international deals with other different companies as well. So I do not think this will affect AEW in any situation. I feel like, if anything, it's a good thing because they're going to be showcased in over 40 countries, and that's going to be a great thing at the end of the day. You know, the international market when it comes to wrestling is huge. Wrestling companies can grow exponentially, especially when they go to international markets. But AEW and DAZN will now have a multi-year broadcast deal. Now, do I think a streaming deal is imminent for AEW? Last year, I said that they were going to have a deal with HBO Max. I kind of held off on that now. The reason why I say that is because, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that HBO Max and Discovery Plus are going to be merging, and I believe the name of the streaming service is going to be called Max. And another thing is HBO Max at the time did not have sports, but I believe recently they signed a deal to air U.S. soccer games on HBO Max, so they're going to start having sports on there. Do I still think that they will sign a deal, that being AEW will sign a deal with HBO Max in the future to air their pay-per-views? Yeah, personally I do. But at the same time, I think it's going to take a while. I don't think it's going to happen now. I think my best bet that we'll probably get it in a year or so, but I may be wrong on that one. But one thing I will say is that it's going to take a while for them to get a streaming deal. That's not a bad thing because I think they're doing great with their pay-per-view buy rates on Bleacher Report. But still, I think AEW, I believe that they are exploring streaming options, and I feel like the DAZN partnership, even though it's internationally, it's a step in the right direction. All right. Kenny Omega hasn't been on AEW Dynamite this past week. Kenny Omega has been off AEW television due to a visa issue, hoping to return next week. Again, I'm reading this from F4W Online. A visa issue has prevented Kenny Omega from appearing on AEW television over the past couple of weeks. Dave Meltzer reported on the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter that a visa issue is why Canadian-born Omega hasn't appeared on AEW programming since the January 11th episode of Dynamite. Omega is hoping that he can return to AEW next Wednesday, but that's not a lock. And a quote by Dave Meltzer, and I quote, Kenny Omega has been off TV for a few weeks due to a visa issue. He badly wanted to be at the show in Lexington, Kentucky because he loved Jay Briscoe but was unable to be there, Meltzer wrote. The hope is that he can return on February 1st in Dayton, Ohio, but that is not a lock. Fightful also reported on Thursday that Omega wanted to be on Wednesday's Dynamite in Lexington but was unable to because of a visa issue. Omega and the Young Bucks won the AEW Trios titles on the January 11th Dynamite in Los Angeles, defeating Death Triangle in a ladder match to wrap up their Best of 7 series. The Young Bucks also noted on Being the Elite that there was a lot of stress leading up to the match, which was a visa issue that almost prevented the match from happening, which that would have been terrible if that was the case, but thankfully that did not happen. But Kenny Omega has a current visa issue. Hopefully he can get that resolved so he can come back on television, because what is AEW without Kenny Omega? I think Kenny Omega is a valuable asset to AEW, and of course he is 1/3 of the Trios champions along with the Young Bucks, and I think they're going to be doing great things. My best bet is that they are going to be feuding with the House of Black next in the future, but we'll have to wait and see. Everybody's still talking about whether or not they will feud with CM Punk at the end of in the future. I still think that should be the case, and I think it will happen, but at this time, I don't think we should be talking about that now. Another thing is that Punk is currently injured, so let's not really talk about that a lot. But it's still a match that I want to happen. But hopefully Kenny Omega can come back in the future and he can get that visa issue resolved. All right. So we're going to be real quick. That is all the AEW news that I have here. But yeah, man, we are going to be previewing SmackDown, which will be tonight. SmackDown is, of course, going to be the go-home show before the Royal Rumble. I'm reading this from Wrestling Headlines, and tonight's SmackDown is actually very interesting because I actually did not know this. Brock Lesnar is apparently advertised for the show. Of course, Brock Lesnar made his return this past Monday on the Raw 30th Anniversary show. At the end of the show, in which he cost Bobby Lashley the match against Austin Theory for the U.S. title. So, according to Wrestling Headlines, tonight's Royal Rumble go-home edition of SmackDown on Fox will air from the Sames Auto Arena in Laredo, Texas. SmackDown will feature, of course, 2 semifinal matches because they are doing a tag team tournament. It's interesting to note that Brock Lesnar is advertised for tonight's show by the WWE event website and the Arena website. Lesnar returned at Raw 30 on Monday night to help WWE U.S. Champion Austin Theory retain over Bobby Lashley, but his Royal Rumble spot was not confirmed. This will be Lesnar's first Blue Brand appearance since July 29th, 2022. But there's other wrestlers announced for the show. Of course, we have the Usos, Charlotte Flair, Liv Morgan, Braun Strowman, and the Street Profits, who are Raw talent, is also advertised for the show. So the card for tonight's SmackDown will be as follows. Of course, it is the go-home show before tomorrow night's Royal Rumble, which will be a fantastic show, in my opinion. I'm very, very excited for the Royal Rumble. We have Karrion Kross versus Rey Mysterio, which it's a match that they have been building up for the past couple of weeks, and I believe they announced this match 2 weeks ago. So this is going to be a very interesting match. They're giving something for Karrion Kross to do. We also got Kevin Owens versus Solo Sikoa. And we got 2 semifinal matches. We got the number 1 contenders tag team tournament semifinals with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus taking on Hit Row. And we got the tag team semifinals of Legado del Fantasma versus Imperium. That second match is going to be very interesting. I like Legado del Fantasma and I love Imperium, but let's be honest, at the end of the day, we already know what the finals of the whole tournament is going to be. It's going to be Drew McIntyre and Sheamus versus Imperium, and that is going to be an absolute banger of a match. But yeah, that is what we have lined up for the SmackDown show that is coming up. I'm very excited for tonight's show. Of course, do we get Sami Zayn? Do we get Roman Reigns announce, what Sami Zayn's test will be tonight on the SmackDown show? Honestly, I do not know. But speaking of SmackDown tomorrow, be on the lookout right here on the WrestleHavoc Podcast because I will be giving you guys my SmackDown review. Of course, the main reason why I'm giving you guys episode 5 of the podcast early is because of the fact that the Royal Rumble, of course, is this Saturday, of course, that being tomorrow, and on Sunday, which is usually the days that I give you guys the main podcast, on Sunday, I will be giving you guys my Royal Rumble pay-per-view review, so be on the lookout for that. But before we continue, because we are headed towards the Royal Rumble, make sure to like and subscribe for more content right here on the WrestleHavoc Podcast, right here on YouTube, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content, and as the frickin' referee would say, ring, ring, ring that damn bell for more notifications. Also, the WrestleHavoc Podcast is available on audio platforms. It is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and Google Podcasts. So if you guys want to listen to the WrestleHavoc Podcast in audio format, it is available on all of those platforms. Again, hopefully I will be able to upload the last few episodes of the podcast, or the last few podcasts that I've done this week and last week, because I haven't been uploading them on the audio platform. So hopefully I can get those on time. Uploading the videos in an audio format, I don't know why, but I haven't really been consistent on that, but hopefully I will in the near future. Also, I have the Dynamite review is already up on the channel. The link will be in the description below. I talk about Mark Briscoe paying tribute to his late brother Dre Briscoe. We also had great matches on the show. Of course, we had Bryan Danielson versus Brian Cage. We also had Darby Allin defending the TNT Championship against Buddy Matthews. We also had the Sex Gods, Chris Jericho, and Sammy Guevara facing Action Andretti and Ricky Starks. So it was a great Dynamite overall. If you guys want to check out the Dynamite review right here on the podcast, the link will be in the description below. Also, if you guys want to watch my Raw review, that is also up on the channel, and the link will also be in the link in the description below. Of course, I talk about the main topic and the main thing, which was the opening segment that happened on the show, and probably one of the best segments in the last how many few years in WWE. Of course, I talk about the tribal court of Sami Zayn. I give you guys my thoughts on that as well. And also, watch my YouTube shorts. I uploaded a bunch of YouTube shorts as well, and they're doing very well in views. So I'm going to be continuing to upload YouTube shorts and small clips of the podcast as well. So be on the lookout for both of those reviews, both the Raw 30 review and the Dynamite review. Both links will be in the description below. So we are going to be talking about the Royal Rumble. But, yeah, man, I'm going to be giving you guys my prediction for the Royal Rumble. Of course, the Royal Rumble takes place tomorrow night from the Alamo Dome, which is going to be absolutely amazing, from San Antonio, Texas. I am very excited about this show. I'm very excited about the Royal Rumble because of the fact that not only it kicks off the road to WrestleMania, but also for a unique reason is the fact that it is Triple H's first Royal Rumble, and we're going to be seeing what Triple H's vision for the Royal Rumble is going to be. One of the things about the Royal Rumble that kind of has, in a way, I don't want to say disappointed me these last few years, is that the Royal Rumble has been very predictable. Now, I've always said right here on this channel, on this podcast, that predictability can be a good thing and can be a bad thing. 2015 was very bad. 2014 was very bad. 2016, we all expected Triple H to win. 2017, of course, who can forget Roman Reigns coming out to number 30, and everybody expected somebody big to come out, but instead it was Roman Reigns. Everybody booed the hell out of that. We had Shinsuke Nakamura 2018. He won. That was great. Seth Rollins won in 2019. Great. Drew McIntyre won in 2020. 2020 was actually a pretty good Royal Rumble. 2021, Edge won it. 2022, last year's Rumble was actually a pretty big disappointment. Now, on my review last year, I talked about how Brock Lesnar winning was not really a bad thing because I already knew Brock Lesnar was going to win anyway, so I didn't really get mad about it to begin with, and I kind of knew that they were going to be headed towards Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. But the way the whole Royal Rumble played out, you had Shane McMahon there. It was a complete dud that happened, to say the least. But this year's Royal Rumble is looking very promising, and I'm very, very, very excited to see what the hell they're going to be doing, because there's a lot of scenarios that can play out, and the road to WrestleMania this year, the build towards WrestleMania, is going to be very, very, very interesting, and Triple H, I feel like, has all the tools that he needs to make this a great WrestleMania season, so I'm definitely excited for this show. But let's run down the Royal Rumble card, because this is actually a pretty good card. Now, usually I have been praising WWE pay-per-views for the past couple of months, almost the last year. WWE pay-per-views have been absolutely fantastic. Say what you want about the weekly shows, but WWE, pay-per-views have relatively been absolutely fantastic because they are focusing on less matches. Think about this. Less is more, quality over quantity, and this card is no different. Now, there are, of course, a couple of matches that I'm not really that excited about, but still, I think they will end up just fine. So let's talk about the match card that we are going to be seeing tomorrow night from San Antonio at the Alamo Dome at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. In our first match of the evening, we have Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight in a pitch black match, or as WWE is dubbing it and sponsored by, the Mountain Dew pitch black match. Now, this is a match that we have never seen before, and this is a match that I'm curious to see what is going to be going on. Now, keep in mind, this is Bray Wyatt's first match back in WWE since returning to WWE at Extreme Rules this past October. A lot of people have been criticizing WWE for their quote-unquote usage of Bray Wyatt and saying that, we're seeing the same shit over and over again. And to an extent, I totally understand. But at the same time, you can't just rush things with Bray Wyatt. I think what Triple H's team is trying to do is they're trying to build time for Bray Wyatt. Give him time. And I think this match is going to showcase what Bray Wyatt is definitely capable of, this new version of Bray Wyatt. The build for this match has definitely been very interesting because, of course, we also had the Uncle Howdy character show up for a couple of weeks on both SmackDown and Raw. Of course, on the Raw side, he's been interfering with Alexa Bliss, and it looks like Alexa Bliss is going to be part of this new group. But who do I think is going to be winning this match? Honestly, I think, it's pretty obvious who should win this match, and it's not LA Knight. Everybody's saying LA Knight should win this match. No. The only reason why LA Knight is in this match is because of the fact that he needs to make Bray Wyatt look good, because LA Knight is the type of wrestler that can make anybody look good. Bray Wyatt has to win this match. There is no reason as to why you brought back Bray Wyatt and there was all this hype and all of a sudden his first match back, he loses. That makes absolutely no sense. So Bray Wyatt should win this match. Do I think that we're going to be getting the possible reveal of Uncle Howdy? Maybe. Everybody is saying that Uncle Howdy is going to cause Bray Wyatt the match. No, I do not think so. I think Uncle Howdy will eventually show up either after the match or maybe during the match between Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss. But the pitch black match, hopefully it's not, and I constantly joked about this on the Raw and especially on the SmackDown reviews. I hope the pitch black match is not like the CYN dark match. That's all I'm going to say. But my prediction for this match is Bray Wyatt goes over in this match against LA Knight. We have the Raw Women's Championship match between Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss. Probably a match that I'm not really that excited about, to be quite honest with you. It's interesting what they have been doing with Alexa Bliss. They're doing, it looks like they're pairing Alexa Bliss with Bray Wyatt, to be quite honest with you. Now, we do not know if it's going to be with Uncle Howdy or Bray Wyatt. It's very interesting to see what they are doing here. But I'm going to give it time. I've been very critical of WWE and Alexa Bliss using the whole supernatural type shit with Lily. That was the most cringiest shit I have ever seen. And hopefully WWE can change that here with the whole Uncle Howdy shtick. But I'm going to give it a chance. But who do I think is going to be winning the Raw Women's Championship? I think Bianca Belair is going to retain eventually. And we'll have Uncle Howdy have some sort of involvement. But speaking of Uncle Howdy, who do I think is Uncle Howdy under that mask? My genuine belief, a lot of people are saying it's Vincent, but I still do not think, I'm not convinced that it's Vincent. I genuinely believe, I am still convinced that Uncle Howdy is Bo Dallas. That's just what I believe, but it is what it is. But who do I got for the Raw Women's Championship match? Bianca Belair retains the title. Of course, we have the undisputed WWE Championship match between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. This is their third Royal Rumble match because they first wrestled back in 2017 in the same venue, I might add, because back in 2017, the Royal Rumble was at the Alamo Dome, so they wrestled in the same venue. They're going to be wrestling at the same venue, I should say. And, of course, they wrestled back in the Thunderdome era 2 years ago at the Rumble. So, yeah, man, a lot of history between both Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. Of course, Kevin Owens is, if you want to say, in the middle of the whole Sami Zayn and trying to convince Sami Zayn that the bloodline is using him. Of course, Sami Zayn is constantly just telling him, no, you're lying, blah, blah, blah. What do I think is going to be happening? Now, of course, as Reigns stated back at Raw 30 in the Tribal Court of Sami Zayn segment, he told Sami Zayn that at the Royal Rumble, he's going to be put to the test. Now, what that test is going to be, I have absolutely no freaking idea. My best guess is it has something to do with the Royal Rumble. Do I think Sami Zayn is going to be involved? I think so. I mean, it makes total sense for that to happen. But it is very interesting. But at the end of the day, this match is going to be absolutely amazing. And at the end of the day, we all know that Roman Reigns is going to be retaining the title. There's no way Kevin Owens is going to be winning this match. But story-wise, I think the match is going to... story-wise and in-ring-wise, this match is going to be delivering 110%. All right. We got the Women's Royal Rumble match. Of course, it's the 30 Women Royal Rumble match. It's very interesting to see who's going to be winning this match. There's a lot of possibilities. At the end of the day, my prediction is going to be Rhea Ripley winning the Rumble. I say Rhea Ripley because of the fact that Rhea Ripley has been doing such good things on Raw, and she has been doing great things with Dominic. I think the chemistry she has with Dominic has been, a lot of people are criticizing Dominic, saying he's kind of cringe, but at the end of the day, Dominic is entertaining. Do I think his promos still need work? Yeah, I do, but still, I genuinely believe Rhea Ripley is doing a great job, and I think WWE in the future are going to be establishing Judgment Day as a more big threat down in the future. But I think Rhea Ripley is going to be winning the Women's Royal Rumble. I do not think anybody else. I think this match is definitely built for Rhea Ripley, and it'd be very, very interesting to see what they're going to be doing with her down the road if she wins the Royal Rumble. But my guess is, and my prediction, I should say, is Rhea Ripley will win the 2023 Women's Royal Rumble match. All right. Plus, we got the 30-man Royal Rumble match. Of course, that will be the main event. This is very interesting, and I'll talk about this right after I give my full prediction. But I talked about this briefly last week on episode 4 of the podcast, and I talked about how Cody Rhodes should be the only guy to win the Royal Rumble. And I still stand by that. I think my prediction is, look, Cody Rhodes has to win the Royal Rumble because, again, everything he has stated before he got injured will be rendered absolutely useless if he doesn't win the Rumble. But Sami Zayn has been the talk of the entire wrestling world, especially today. Everybody is talking about Sami Zayn, but we'll talk about Sami Zayn right after. But my prediction for the Men's Royal Rumble match is going to be Cody Rhodes because of the fact that Cody just has to be the guy. You can argue that Sami Zayn is hot right now, but think about this. Look, if Cody Rhodes wasn't in the WWE and he was still in AEW and they were doing this whole honorary use thing with Sami Zayn, I'd say yes, do the match with Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, but I'll give you guys a reason as to why I do not think it's going to be Sami Zayn, and I feel like people are jumping the gun with that. But my prediction will be Cody Rhodes will win this year's Royal Rumble. So that is my Royal Rumble preview and predictions. It's going to be a very, very good show in my opinion. I'm very excited to see what they're going to be doing. And I think it's going to be one of the best Royal Rumbles in the past couple of years that WWE, well, not the past couple of years. WWE has been doing the Royal Rumble for decades now, but I'm saying it's going to be probably the best Royal Rumble in like 10 years, in my opinion, because I've never been this excited for a Royal Rumble than I have this year. I'm being 100% honest with you guys. So those were my Royal Rumble predictions. All right. We got Sami Zayn. And our main topic that we are going to be talking about is Sami Zayn. So Sami Zayn, there was an interview with Ariel Helwani that dropped with Sami Zayn. It's like a 24-minute interview. If you guys haven't checked out that interview, I strongly recommend you guys to check out that interview. It's a really good interview. Say what you want about Ariel Helwani, but Ariel Helwani and his WWE interviews with wrestlers are absolutely amazing. I believe he did one with Cody Rhodes last year at WrestleMania, and he also did one with Seth Rollins as well. And he did one with Triple H as well. So it's very interesting. But there's very interesting topic that Sami Zayn talked about in this interview, and of course he is talking about fan revolt. Of course, you guys do not know what fan revolt means. Is the fans basically rejecting something that they once liked because of the fact that wrestling fans are fickle. So Sami Zayn does not expect fan revolt if somebody else wins the Royal Rumble. Sami Zayn, and I'm reading this from, again, F4W Online, but of course, this is coming from the interview with Ariel Helwani that he made. Sami Zayn is not expecting fans to revolt on Saturday if somebody other than him wins the Men's Royal Rumble match. During an interview with Ariel Helwani on Friday, Zayn addressed comparisons of his popularity headed into the 2023 Royal Rumble to Daniel Bryan's in 2014. Zayn believes fans have more trust in the company's creative process now than they did then. He feels that they have confidence where his storyline with the Bloodline is headed, even if that doesn't involve him winning the Royal Rumble. And in a quote in the interview by Sami Zayn, Zayn said, "I believe there's a lot of casual fans who are just kind of along for the ride, and I don't think that the fans are kind of where they were 6 or 5 years ago, where they kind of would revolt and were, no, Daniel Bryan's the guy, you're trying to give us Batista, blah, blah, blah. No, we'll force you. I don't feel that the level of borderline contempt from the audience towards the creative direction. I think because the story has been so interesting, there's a little bit of trust in that it'll go where it goes and it'll still be fine. I'm sure there are a lot of people who are pulling for me. That's great. It's nice to be the guy, but I don't think it's at a place where Daniel Bryan was. I believe in 2014, it's like anybody but him is going to be a disaster. It was actually a disaster, so they had to fix it and they had to play cleanup. If they don't do it right, there's a possibility of contempt towards whoever that person is, whether it's Cody, whether it's anybody. It could be anybody. If it's not done right, it could kind of hurt that person. But we work with a lot of people who know how to do things right. Later in that conversation, Zayn continued to talk about how the fans will accept any storyline provided if it's done correctly. This includes him potentially beating Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Zayn would continue to say that while he feels he could be champion, he does not believe he fits what WWE looks for as the face of the company. And as of this writing, Zayn has not officially declared for the Royal Rumble match, which is actually a key note to think about. And only out of 16 out of 30 entrants have been revealed. So that is a key note to think about. Zayn is actually not officially an entrant in the Royal Rumble match. And in the graphic that shows, it doesn't show Sami Zayn. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, what are my thoughts on Sami Zayn talking about, saying that, what are my thoughts on Zayn not expecting fan revolt if he doesn't win the Royal Rumble? Now, again, we need to note that we do not know if Sami Zayn is even going to be a part of the Royal Rumble. Now, I do not think, and I completely agree with Sami Zayn's statement, I do not believe this is a situation like 2014. Because if you look back in 2014, who was the most over guy from the end of 2013 into 2014? It was Daniel Bryan, a.k.a. Bryan Danielson. He was literally the most over guy in the whole company. He was so over that WWE just couldn't help but actually changed the WrestleMania main event. They were forced to change the WrestleMania main event. Whether you agree with my statement or not, they were forced to change the WrestleMania main event. Because keep in mind, their original main event for WrestleMania 30 was supposed to be Batista versus Randy Orton. Nobody wants to see that. And I believe Batista himself even stated Daniel Bryan should have won the Royal Rumble. And keep in mind, WWE made the same freaking mistakes 2 years in a row. Daniel Bryan didn't win 2014, but they still made it the main event, and he still won the title in New Orleans at WrestleMania 30. But the next year, when, of course, Daniel Bryan came back from injury, everybody wanted Daniel Bryan to win, but instead they gave the win to Roman Reigns. And that caused a lot of fan outrage, and rightfully so, because it was the dumbest thing that WWE done. How do you botch twice 2 years in a row is beyond me. But I 100% agree with Sami Zayn. I don't think this whole situation is any similar. It's not the same thing as it was in 2014, because if you look now, even though a lot of people think it can be a bad situation to choose between either Cody or Sami Zayn, it's kind of a good thing for the fans and for the consumer watching the show, because the fact that it creates that unpredictability nature of the Royal Rumble instead of just having a predictable element. Because there can be a situation in which Sami Zayn eventually wins the Royal Rumble, or there can be another situation in which Cody Rhodes actually wins the Royal Rumble. At the end of the day, one of those two men will win the Royal Rumble, period. And my best guess is Cody Rhodes. I still am on the Cody Rhodes bandwagon. And I will say this. And look, I 100% understand the arguments that people are making right now when it comes to Sami Zayn. Yes, I 100% agree. Sami Zayn is the hottest thing right now in WWE. Possibly not only in WWE, in the entire pro wrestling universe. We can all agree with that. The whole Sami Zayn, Honorary's bloodline storyline is the best storyline that WWE has done in the past at least 5 to 10 years. It is that damn good. And I understand that Sami Zayn is hot right now. But again, I stated this last week, and I will stand by that statement. If you don't give the Royal Rumble win to Cody Rhodes, everything that Cody Rhodes said when he came back before he got injured back in June, everything that Cody Rhodes said about wanting to win the WWE title will be rendered absolutely useless at the end of the day. So realistically, what was the point of you bringing in Cody Rhodes at the end of the day? And here's another note I want to bring you guys. I've stated constantly on the SmackDown review that the goal is for Sami Zayn to reunite with Kevin Owens. And that is, I still believe that is the most logical plan that they can do. Because keep in mind, if you look back to the early months of the Sami Zayn Honorary storyline, who was in storyline? I'm going to ask you guys a question. Who was the first, guy that Sami Zayn had that tension with in the early months of the storyline? Because it wasn't Roman Reigns. It was Jey Uso. And look where we got right after War Games. Jey Uso and Sami Zayn and kayfabe are on the same page. Now, you had the Tribal Court of Sami Zayn segment in which you had Jey Uso defend for Sami Zayn. Now, the Bloodline being the Bloodline are malicious heels. What if they actually, because we all know they're going to whack Sami Zayn at the end of the day. Whether it's tomorrow or whether it's next week, they're going to whack Sami Zayn at the end of the day. This is all going to be leading to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn teaming up to dethrone the Usos at WrestleMania. And here's another thing that I need to get you guys thinking of, because clearly not a lot of people are talking about this. Finally, Sami Zayn was even talking about this as well. But what city is Elimination Chamber going to be held in next month, next February? It is going to be in Montreal. What a coincidence, right? Elimination Chamber is going to be in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. So my guess is that right after the Bloodline turn on Sami Zayn, they are going to be doing a one-on-one match. They're going to be doing the Sami and Roman match at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. That's what I see them doing. And you know what? I'm totally cool with that because of the fact that it's in Sami's hometown and Sami's going to get a mega fucking reaction in Montreal. So it makes total sense. Look, Sami Zayn shouldn't win the Royal Rumble. Even though I understand people's arguments and I wouldn't be mad about it, but look, you have to give it to Cody Rhodes. You just have to. Look, I get it. He's been out, injured. I get it. But at the end of the day, everything that Cody Rhodes has said, because if you don't give the belt to Cody, if you don't give Cody the rub when he comes back, everything Cody said is just going to be rendered absolutely useless. And I feel like Cody Rhodes' run, I don't want to say it's been wasted, but like for Cody Rhodes to get shafted like that, I don't know about that, man. Another thing is, look, we need to talk about the splitting of the championships, but the splitting of the championships is very interesting. Now, apparently there's been reports that they wanted to split the titles before WrestleMania. I do not think that's going to be the case. Now, is The Rock going to come in? I do not know. We still do not know. A lot of people are saying that The Rock should win the Royal Rumble. Yeah, The Rock should win the Royal Rumble. I do not know what to say to these people, but like, please, be more smart. Like, he's not going to wrestle at the Royal Rumble. And he's not going to win the Royal Rumble. It makes no sense for him to do that. But again, look, Cody Rhodes has to win at the end of the day. And the main focus when it comes to Sami Zayn is that they're going to have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn reunite to dethrone the Usos. Because the Usos make total sense, considering the fact that this whole animosity, as soon as this Bloodline Sami Zayn storyline started, the early months, where was the animosity? It was with Jey and Sami, and look, they're now on good terms, yeah, but who's to say when the Bloodline turn on Sami Zayn, Jey was lying the whole time? We all know Roman. Roman is, of course, they're gonna turn on Sami Zayn at the end of the day. And I get the arguments, but Cody Rhodes needs to win the Royal Rumble, period. But the story itself of Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns is fantastic because you can pitch the story of the Anoa'i family versus the Rhodes family. It's just a perfect story to tell at the end of the day. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Sami Zayn's comments. And also another thing, I've completely forgot to mention, but I do not think the fans will revolt. I don't think the fans are going to be fickle. You know, they're not going to boo Cody Rhodes. I do not think that's going to be the case as well. Because everybody, if you look, yes, Cody Rhodes got booed out of the building when he left AEW, but when he came to the WWE, he was the biggest babyface but he was the biggest babyface that the company had. So it makes total sense for Cody to win at the end of the day. But the fans are not going to revolt at all. It is not the same situation as Daniel Bryan in 2014. But yeah, that was my Royal Rumble thoughts, preview, and predictions, of course, right here on Episode 5 of the WrestleHavoc Podcast. Overall, we talked about a lot right here on the show, and I'm very looking forward to what's going to be happening tonight and, of course, tomorrow night at the Royal Rumble PPV that will be taking place in San Antonio, Texas at the Alamo Dome. So, yeah, that was Episode 5 of the podcast. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, push that bell for notifications and be on the lookout for more videos right here on the WrestleHavoc Podcast, right here on YouTube, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. And as the frickin' referee would say, ring that damn bell for more notifications. But as always, it is Flamin' Rick signing out.